Our VIP host announcer is just pulling up, so you know he don't like to start late, but he'll be here in a minute.
Ain't nothing wrong with your ears, right? I was just giving some names of people. Yeah. Oh, she's sitting with you. Okay.
Lord Todd. Oh, you know his wife, man. If you need to do sit down. Yeah. Why don't you sit down until you're ready? You ready to start now?
7 car. Okay. Yeah. You not well, not good. It's been a rough 2 weeks. Oh yeah. You ready? You ready? Good afternoon, rock fans. Yeah. Good afternoon, Rattler fans. I got a call in the coach, Coach COlzie, but his line was busy. Thank you. My voice might be a little shaky, so that command presence isn't usually there, like it usually is. I guess I do need to say, last 2 weeks, been kind of strong. A lot of chemotherapy and other stuff. I thought I was could handle it, but I'm not as strong as I thought. But with Jerry, I decided to come, even though she just decided to tell me not to. But I put my foot down. Yeah. But you're in bad shape if Corky Norwood is holding the door open for you. Yeah. And last week, I didn't really know how bad I was until we started to sit for the photograph. I don't know if y'all know how strong Leroy is. You need to go up there and feel his muscles, because the cat is strong. But he had heard I was under the weather, and we were going back for the photograph. Leroy came and grabbed me with both arms. Eddie, boy, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. And I said, not if you don't turn me loose. So, the best part of that, I was a little wobbling finding my seat. And Gary, my good frat brother, grabbed me by the arm, not like Leroy, but very gently, and just sit me down in the seat. Gary, I tried to call you, but I got your number wrong. But I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Now I'm going to try to bebop my way through a certain stanza. I decided that a campaign of $1 million needs to have its own song. I also changed that the easiest way to do this is not to try to find 4,000 rappers who would give 10,000 each, but to find 1,000 rappers who would give 1,000 each, and we'll pick up the rest by the rest of people who are making all levels of contributions. And I think we're off to a pretty good start. I'll explain it in more details later. But first, this song has a lot of changes yet to be made, but this is a short rendition. This is Eddie Jackson's first ever. Tried to do this before a group, but it's more in the form of a rap song. So, Vaughn, you're a rap guy, and you know before a rap song you'll have a little boop, doop, da boop, doop, da boop, right? Okay. Okay, so we'll go through the boop, doop, da boop, doop, da boop. They said we're trying to move out of our league. $1 million cash is a bridge too far. They must not know who we are. They are wrong because we are Rattler strong. We are Rattler strong. We are Rattler strong. We've been underestimated and unappreciated, but we can achieve any goal we want. We don't bark and we don't moan because we are Rattler strong. We are Rattler strong. We don't bark and we don't moan because we are Rattler strong and Rattler strong. And we strike and we strike and we strike again because we are Rattler strong. It needs a little work. All right. Now I want you to know that when Darryl Parks got the message for what we were trying to do, he said, "Put me down, I'll be there." And where's Leslie Cobbs? Yeah, Leslie and Ella Cobbs, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lloyd. You see Lloyd. I'm a little shaky. But Lloyd, who I'm missing, Pat? Who? Wade Bellamy? Wade, were you inducted in some Hall of Fame recently? Okay. All right. So wait, they retired Joe Jersey too, huh? I know the feeling. I wanted to say something about Ella Cobbs, who runs the Cobbs household up in North Carolina. She's very much as strong a rattler as her husband. I should have known that when I noticed the first check was signed, Ella Cobbs, not Leslie, not Lauren Cobbs. Yeah, yeah, Leroy, I'm worried about you now. Don't come near me.
If I could add, the Cobbs just came from the foundation. They dropped off one check, $10,000, $2,500 to the Rattler Boosters, $2,500 to the Rattler F Club, $2,500 to the 220 Quarterback Club, and $2,500 to the Athletic Director's Discretionary Fund. Thank you.
I want to say that I have complicated those dollars for the campaign. So we're including every single dollar in those accounts to be part of the campaign. Now, where's Sergeant McKinney? McKinney, are you about to make a great contribution? Or you don't want to mention it now? You don't? Okay, well, I think everybody need to know it. You're going to make a contribution to which Rattler team?
What it is, I'm trying to coordinate I promise my wife and I elected to purchase the basketball. Yeah, my wife and I decided to, I don't want to be seen, just heard. We decided we will purchase the basketball shooting gun, which is about $8,400. And so I'm just waiting to get the final bill and make it happen.
Okay, without counting any other dollars already, we're talking about what was Cobb's total gift? Okay, we're already at over $18,000 to kick off, and we're going to get way past the day when we collect some of the dollars you guys are going to contribute. Before I turn it over to Selvin, sure what kind of condition I'm in. I was looking for somebody, but I don't know who I'm looking for. Not absolutely. So we'll move on. Kevin, are you ready?
Jerry got you.
Yes.
Oh, Daryl Parks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a call yesterday. My good friend brother Daryl Parks called me to check on me, but he also wanted to let me know that he wanted to be a part of this. Daryl.
Thank you very much, Eddie. And Eddie, I told you on the phone last night how much I love you and how much you have meant to me as a student, especially, and all that you poured into me as a student leader. So I want to say that publicly to you in your face, and I appreciate you. Yesterday, I called Eddie just to check on him, right? And I thought I was making a campaign call a little bit because I'm running for state senate. And he flipped the script on me. He told me he needed to raise $1 million for FAMU. And he asked me if would I do $10,000 in the next 9 months. I told him I would. And so, Eddie, I'm going to put $3,000 on that this week. Then I'll pay the other $7,000 as we go along. I think that we are at a good point for fam. Y'all know about y'all. I'm still high from Atlanta, and I don't think I'll ever come down Johnny Hankerson. It was just a great moment, and I hope we get to build on that. And so I'm totally committed to you, Eddie. I will say this here. So that's that on that part. The other thing I would say is this. I'm running for state senate, y'all. Go to darylforflorida.com. I need y'all to give. Y'all know if I win, you win. It'll be a pro FAMU state senate seat. darylforflorida.com. Give what you can. I got to raise $5 million. And let me be real clear. The Republicans called me back in January and said, we'll spend $20 million to try to save Corey Simon. Now, I got to raise at least $5 million to beat him. So those of y'all who can give, the limit is $1,000 for your normal state account. But I also have a political action committee, too. So those of y'all who want to show some big love, and let me say this here. I raised a lot of money last week. One of my donors really stepped up and gave me a lot of money on day one. But we had a good day. We raised over $100,000 on day one. But when you got to raise $5 million, you better raise it in lumps, and you better move fast, right? But we can beat him. The one thing we know about those of you who live here, you know that this is a Democratic-leaning district. If we turn out, we win. Okay? If we turn out, we win. So knowing that, you're going to see a lot of energy put into our neighborhoods, our community to get us out. Election's still a long way away, so we're raising money, we're getting ready. You're going to see a lot of grassroots approach going to what's going on. So when we get there, give money this week if you can. Let me be real clear. If you can give money this week, darylforflorida.com. If you need some little cards, I got plenty of them to show you where to go. But I need your help. And we're going to have fun doing this too. And we're going to send Corey Simon home, okay? You got my word on it. Thank you, Eddie.
Well, that puts us over $30,000 right there, Selby. Right. So we're on the move, folks. We may have this $1 million by tomorrow. Keep up this pace. I'm getting a little worried about Coach COlzie. Okay, yeah, give him a call, Vaughn. I'm going to now turn the floor over to the president of our boosters, Mr. Lloyd Selvin Carr.
All right, Sam.
Good evening, everybody. I don't have as much money as Lord Cobbs have, but we don't want to get our names mixed up. One of the things that I've been asked to do, when I was up last week, I was talking about the appointments and the things that were going on FAMU. The guy told me, he said, look, when you get up there, and the first thing come out of your mouth is the Rattler boosters. So I'm going to ask all our booster members, I want to ask you to stand, but just raise your hand so everybody know who's in here. And just look at Rattler boosters. This is the Rattler Boosters F Club, what's the other one on here, Eddie? The 220 Club. We are all one people, one family. If you had an opportunity and if you get a chance to come into one of our meetings last night, we had a meeting last night where we had a booster club meeting, and we probably spent close to about $26,000 that we donated to athletics. We parted with our coach's salary. We parted with our athletes, $5,000 of our athletes. And unfortunately, we have someone that's on campus that's going around stealing things. So we had a blower that was taken, and that was a $950 deal. So we spent about $26,000 just last night on Rattler Booster Athletics. So I want to thank you all for what you've done for us. Now, for all of you all who are not life members and you need to pay your annual dues, that's $100 a year. You could, since most of us are already Rattler boosters, you can just bring your check to the 220 Club and we'll take it from there. But if for those people that's out of town, I want to tell you that we need you to send to Rattler Boosters, Inc., Post Office Box 5895, and that's Tallahassee, 3, what is it? What is it? What's the zip code, Bill? 323, is it 04? $32314. That's the zip code. So if you want to become part of us, go ahead and send your checks to Rattler Boosters. One other thing, I know the coach is coming in. Hopefully he's coming. One of the things that this weekend, the football team, right. Again, that was Post Office Box 5865, Tallahassee, Florida. Okay. As I was saying, this weekend is the Rattler. The teams will get their rings. The Post Office Box, if you're on chat, it's going to be online there, and if you here and you need the address, see me. It's myfamu.edu/event champions dinner. That's the event. There is a banquet on Friday night, which they will get the rings, and then there is a breakfast on Saturday morning before the football game. So you can come to all the events. We certainly appreciate it. Now, tell them what the breakfast. Okay, you know I take orders from everybody. All right, the breakfast is a meal with Coach COlzie. Okay, all right. And the cost is $35. The banquet is $100. Okay, all right. Now, what I have here is just a breakdown of everything that's happening with the Rattler sports. Men and women track. Last week they participated. This week they will be participating in the Tom Jones Memorial Invitation Relays. That's going to be in Gainesville, Florida. Both the Friday and Saturday track meets will be televised on SEC Plus network, so you can go live and watch the events. Also on last week, and we had a Brianna Brown Marshall and Joseph DeRozier. They were honored with SWAC Players of the Year, SWAC Team Members of the Year. Our men tennis team, again, they played on Monday, and I don't have the results yet, but I'm sure they gave a real good showing. Our baseball team, we're the 2023 defending champs. Currently, we are in first place in our division. We have 10 wins and 2 losses. Adam Hatamoda was named Co-Slugger of the Week. He finished with a 8 and 16 hitting. He went for 8. He came to bat 16 times. He got 8 hits. Currently, just came off a 3-game winning streak over at, we played Alabama State here at Morris Kittle Field. Our next game, we got a game today, 5 o'clock. We're playing Mercer. We play here at 5 o'clock, and then after this, we're going to take that long, long ride to Itta Bena, Mississippi. Yes.
Also, after the baseball team swept Alabama State 3 straight games,
Okay.
Alabama State went and beat Auburn.
That's right. They beat Auburn 3-2. That's right. They beat Auburn 3-2. So that's just let you know what kind of team that we have. Okay. All right. Now let's move over to women's softball. Again, we are in first place. Currently, we're coming off a 2-game winning streak over Alabama State. And Nia Morgan was named co-hitter of the week. She batted .417. She threw out 3 base runners. She's a catcher, of course. And she had a total of 8 putouts for the catcher. Tennis, again, we are back-to-back champions. We are also the number 1 seed in the tournament, going into the tournament. Again, we're looking for back-to-back winning champions. So we'll be going for our 2nd championship in a row. Currently, we're coming off of a 4-game winning streak over Alabama State. Currently in first place, the number 1 seed of the tournament, and the tournament is going to be in New Orleans. It's going to be at the City Park there in New Orleans. We will play the winner of the Southern Alabama A&M team. So that's who we will play on April the 20th. That's our first game in the tournament. So all in all, our spring sports are doing quite well, very well. Looking forward for our track team to finish strong. They still got a couple matches to finish. Men golf team will be doing as well. And of course, we hope to continue our baseball, women's track, and tennis teams. So all in all, we're doing quite well. So again, I want to thank you all again for all the support that you've given the Rattler Boosters. Thank you.
I couldn't reach Coach, so I called Ray Matthews because I know he's always to the right-hand side. And Coach is currently at the extended student appreciation event that they're having in the Lawson Center. So we're not certain that Coach COlzie is going to be able to make it.
I think you're right, because he's gotten confused a couple of times on matters, but I think I have to give him dates from here until football season. But this is a major area here. Except it gives us a good time. I'd like to hear some comments from anyone on how they feel about this campaign. Anybody? Just hold up your hand and come get the mic, please. I will send the mic to you.
Yeah, okay. I will be the first one to donate. And this is coming from a fellow rattler. He gave $2,000 to you, Eddie, a couple weeks ago. And he sent me a note and said, please use this as your discretion. So, to my friend, Brother Valdez, Virgil Valdez, I told you that I would present this, and this would go to the Rattler Fund, and this is a check for $500. Eddie, I got a little carried away. So, yes.
Just to be clear, the checks I got for
2,000.
$2,000.
Yeah, Eddie wants me to be sure to tell you that Eddie's check was for $2,000. Mine for just $500, but it's going to the same campaign. Okay. Anybody else?
Any comments? Yes. Over here.
Okay.
Good evening, Rattlers. Afternoon. I would venture to say on any campaign to raise money, the same people always contribute. But if you heard of each one reach one, each one need to reach some. We need to bring more rattlers to the table other than the ones who are already given to elevate the campaign. Thank you.
And to what Ms. Vicky said, you hear Dr. Robinson say it, you hear Shantae Friday Stroud say it, you hear Tommy Mitchell say it over and over. We do need to get more rattlers given. We got to get bigger numbers of rattlers contributing, because everybody said, why don't FAMU just go get corporate support? So when the corporate says, well, how many of your alumni are contributing back to you, and you say 7%, that's a ridiculously low number. So we do have to take it upon ourselves, everybody online and everybody in this room, we've got to recruit more people to give something so that they can be on the register so we can get that 7% number is embarrassing. And one of the reasons we're having difficulties university-wide attracting corporate sponsors is because that percentage is low. So I would encourage everyone to encourage your friends, your classmates, whatever clubs you're in, all of those members. This is going to be a sustained campaign. It's not going to happen overnight. I don't think we'll get a $500,000 check in, but I think we can get several $1,000 checks in, though.
Thank you, Vaughn. You know, before I got here, I did my taxes. We all do taxes. And I got real upset that I had to pay that man again. So my formula, and Ella and I, we talked about it. Why not give it to FAMU and not the IRS? The other thing we think about is I've never seen a hearse with money going to the grave. And we're at a point in our life where I would rather for FAMU to have it than to send it to that grave. So I'm asking everyone that can hear me, let's reach in that back pocket, let's keep the IRS off of us, and let's give. Go Rattlers.
I just want to say, Eddie, on behalf of myself and Joyce, I have my check for $1,000 here.
Any other comments or donations?
I want to thank you for that, James. But Jerry and I are going to do the same thing. She doesn't know it yet, but she is. But since we have this kind of moment here, I want to tell a story. And it's not funny. It's not funny, and that's not the point. I'm not quite sure what the point of it is. But Sergeant McKinney and Colonel Joe, back in the 60s, when I was in the Army, we had to fall out every morning, and we had inspection. And there was one player, one soldier who, because of how decked out he was, so clean, I'd say, he never did, never served as night guard. You remember what they call that guy? Supernumerary. Well, our supernumerary was a guy named Morton from Pennsylvania. We called him Killer Morton. And we were always shocked by how he won every week. One day the sergeant said we had a draw, and the expert soldier, he said, by the way, there were only 3 white soldiers, 3 black soldiers stationed where we were at that time at the 7th Army Command Headquarters. And one of the soldiers pulled out a handkerchief. And he started to award it to him, and then Killer Mort pulled out a handkerchief. And Killer Mort's handkerchief, of course, was so much, I don't know why, better than the other handkerchief. And Killer Mort won again. Well, we wondered about Killer Mort because he kept to himself. And back in the early 60s, the Army had a program where you could get drafted for 6 months and then serve for so many years. But Killer was in for 3 years, like the rest of us. We had a bunch of Ivy League graduates stationed there from Yale and Harvard and those places. And they had a swagger about them, like they were officers. You know, they didn't, they carried on. They didn't speak to us, by the way. You know, sometimes we'd, of course, speak to them and they'd say, they nod their heads, yes, yes, keep walking. The difference is those guys played chess every day. And everybody, enlisted men, officers knew when lunchtime came, that chess board in the day room had to be left exactly as it was, because there'd be hell to pay if anybody went in there and messed up that chessboard. And I was really envious of those. I was really envious of those guys. I didn't care for them too much, but I didn't like their attitudes. And then one day they decided to hold a tournament where each player in the tournament had to beat everyone else twice in order to win. And we were standing in the room one day when Mort walked in and said, can I play? And one of the players, white players, covered up his mouth with a laugh. And they think, who is this guy? Won't even speak to anybody. Well, the other black soldier, a guy named Mitchell, who turned out, just retired, I think, as assistant superintendent of schools, but not just retired, in Nashville, Tennessee. His last name Mitchell. I can't remember his first name anymore. But we wondered, what is Mort doing signed up to play these guys? Well, every day we were there watching Mort play, and every day Mort won, never lost a game. Turned out he beat every player twice and won the whole tournament. And me and Mitch, we were stunned, and the white soldiers were stunned. They wanted to know more about Mort, so well, we did too. We turned out that we started hanging out with Morton. And he didn't hang out with us, we hung out with him. And Mort taught me and Mitch how to play. That's how come I beat, no, True Blood so easily. I don't think I ever lost the game to True Blood. But, well, I may have lost one or two. The more we got to know Mort, we found out that Mort had been a what you call prodigy in chess, and had won the city championship in chess when he was like 14 years old. And then Mort still had the clippings, all those things. But the white players had lost their swagger. They weren't the same anymore. You know, they start smiling when they saw us. But Mort would never speak to them. Never. And where we were stationed, our rooms were like dormitories up on the 4th floor. And every night we could hear the white soldiers knocking on Mort's door, trying to get him to come play again. Just one more time, Mort. One more time, man. Mort never spoke to him, never said anything again. And they never got over it. Because, I mean, he beat everybody twice. I never got over it because I got to play more of the game. It was a pretty tough one time. If he had made a mistake, I would have beat him. So, but it lifted my spirits to the point of possibilities of what I could do. Mort dropped chess, even when he went in the Army. His goal was to get a singing group together and make a bunch of hit songs. I don't know if that ever happened, but I never saw him on TV or anything. I never know what happened to him. All I know is we could hear the white players at night knocking on his door. Hey, Mort, hey man, come on, play us one more time. He wouldn't do it. And when he saw him on the field, he didn't speak to them unless spoken to him, he had to answer. But he would not do the hello, how you doing sort of thing. And that story has stuck with me all these years. And I think it's been a key factor in my own positive mental attitude toward life. To know there were people like Mort out there, you know. And then when I came to FAMU, and I got my first internship at Lincoln High School. And it may be hard to tell it now, but I was a pretty good looking young fella back in those days. But one day I found out that another guy had come to intern, and all the girls were heading his way. Turned out to be Colonel Joe. Because Colonel Joe, to me, is like Killer Mort. If Colonel Joe had been an enlisted man, he would have been supernumerary every week. Because everybody who served with Colonel Joe would let you know nobody here could touch him when he put on those Army uniforms. Unfortunately, they knew when my uniform was on. And, but I've always admired Colonel for his, Colonel, were you the outstanding graduate? I remember that. Outstanding graduates get regular Army commissions, which means they're permanently so if they want to be. But I just wanted to point that out. There are Killer Morts and Colonel Joes all around us. You know, there are people like Darryl Parks, you know, who do so much more. You know, when he came to FAMU, we knew right away. Here, this guy, he hit the ground running. President of Student Government Association 2 consecutive years, I believe. And I've never known any lawyers to open their doors as Parks and Crump. And within a couple of years, they were making money unbelievably. In just in a short period of time. Lawyers take time to earn that kind of money. Not for Darrell and Crump. They were really special. So these kind of people are around us all the time. We need to make note of them. We don't need to look far outside who's in this room, who's very special, and who can be very special. And today, I don't know why, I just wanted to tell the story of Killer Morton. I hope he's still living. I hope he's still playing chess. And I don't believe he's lost the game yet. Anybody else?
Well, this is going to be short, but I don't think you can sit in the room after that and say, I pledge at least $1,000, and I'll get you $1,000 before taxes, and I'll get you $1,000 after taxes. How about that? Okay, thank you very much. And what a pleasure, Eddie has been, and to all of us. And it's so wonderful to be in an organization that you're in, my brother. Take care.
I do want to point out something that we're going to have to start thinking about as well, and I want to challenge any business owners that are here within the sound of my voice, business owners. We have got to start NIL deals for our student athletes. My wife and I have picked an athlete that we identified that might be a target for the schools, and we have you actually talk directly to the student athlete. Believe it, you don't go. It does not go through the athletic department. The way NIL is, for those who don't know, name, image, and likeness. For so many years, the NCAA would not allow student athletes to benefit off of their own name. Yet they were selling their names and jerseys and video games and selling the jerseys in the bookstores, but the student athletes were not allowed to get any money off of it. Fortunately, a few years ago, Congress encouraged them and the NCAA obliged, and now you have what you hear all the time is NIL, and it may not ring to you, but this is the wave of athletics right now. Student athletes, even on our level, men and women. Part of the reason you see them hit transfer portals is because they're looking to benefit off of their names while they're in college. And so what we have to do, what we see major universities doing, and probably the only HBCU that I've seen really attack it was North Carolina A&T has developed what they call a collective. And a collective is a pool, so that you can actually sign student athletes to deals with companies, with small companies. It could be with Chambers Flooring or whatever the case is. But we've also, anybody who has a business, Rattler fan supporter, it would be very beneficial to the success of our athletic department moving forward if we were to help them, because the athletic department can't get involved in it. Rattler Boosters, because they're the official DSO, can't get involved in it. 220 Quarterback Club and National Rattler F can assist, but it's actually individuals who own businesses deciding to approach an athlete. If we look at somebody like one of the athletes, I'm not going to say his name, that got in the portal, and I was confused about it. Come to find out, he's a graduate student, which means he doesn't get financial aid anymore, or a Pell Grant, or something to that effect. So he literally would have to take student loans to play his final year at FAMU. Let that sink in. So he got in the transfer portal because to see if there's a school that has something else to offer him. He loved being at FAMU, but that financial situation came up. But if that student athlete were able to have an NIL deal that could help him cover that, he would stay, without question. Without question. So, I will find out. I will find out. But we have to. We can't be ostrich with our head in the sand about this NIL thing, because it's the wave of athletics now. It's one of the biggest subjects. The two biggest subjects. I'll say there are three big subjects in athletics right now. First is women's basketball. I think that's the #1 subject in athletics right now. 19 million viewers is off the charts. That's the highest viewed event since 2019. That's it was like the Olympics or something. It was the last event to draw something like that. So it was amazing job the women did, and the other two of those top three subjects are NIL and the transfer portal. And NIL and the transfer portal are closely related, because one reason for so much transfer portal is because not enough NIL. Are there any other questions I can answer? Because I get asked that all the time, so I figured to take this opportunity to try to explain it best I could. Colonel?
Why don't you hold a training session for us one of the days here? Just go from A to Z for both of those, so both of us are here.
I'll be glad to do it. Colonel asked me if I would do a training session so that those here and those online could understand that even better, and I'll have some examples so that you can understand, because you hear NIL all the time. It's like every other word out of somebody's mouth if they're doing sports talk, and it hasn't sunk it in to the general public exactly what it is, but it's real important, and it affects us here at FAMU. The question was, can you have a scholarship and get NIL? Absolutely. Scholarships cover the basics for a student athlete. Let's just use a student athlete on full scholarship. They get their classes paid for, their books paid for, and if they stay on campus, their housing taken care of. If they stay off campus, there's a stipend or whatever the equivalent amount for staying on campus. That's the best I can give you. Example, and then if you stay on campus, it's a meal plan. If you stay off, there's a stipend there. But with the demands of being a student athlete, you don't have time to, you can't work. There's still a rule you can't work in the NCAA. So they have no other money in their pocket. You don't have money to take your girlfriend to the movies. You don't have money for a late night snack. You don't have money for gas to go home on the holidays or anything like that. It's a tight window, and nobody wants to be without any money in their pocket. So that's why the scholarships are good. Yeah, the scholarships are still valid. NIL helps fill the void. And I'll just be honest, at some of the bigger schools, those kids send money home to help their families, because we know there's still a lot of first-time college entry into families, or families aren't doing as well. You know, in an extreme case, Sanders' sons bought him a house. That's a different world. We're not even talking about that world. We're talking about the basics. We got to get to the basics. That's something different than we're talking about. Dr. Tucker? Well, that is one of the things that drove Nick Saban into retirement. He said the players, all they wanted to know is how much playing time they were going to get and how much money they were going to get and what kind of NIL deals. So it's that important, it's that prevalent in sports, so that a man like Nick Saban, with all the resources he had available to him, that even the colleges and the athletic departments are struggling to keep up with the demands. It just got frustrating. I think he feels the kids have lost the love of the game, that it's gone so far that in his mind the kids have lost the love of the game of working hard. It's just about the money. Yeah. So that was a big part in Nick Saban retiring. So of the things that I mentioned, the thing that the question was, how is this affecting student athletes coming out of high school? The biggest thing affecting student athletes coming out of high school is the transfer portal, because you have some teams that aren't looking for high school players at all. They're all looking for somebody who has experience in a D1 school and has stats and that sort of thing. Even if it's from junior college, they're looking for seasoned players to come into their team, because there's such a heavy emphasis on winning now. When we used to develop the players under, it's almost like in a lot of colleges, they want somebody else to develop them and bring them in when they're ready to play. It's kind of instant. So the effect that it has on the high school student athletes, several less Division I scholarships are available, because they are taking kids that are kind of being recycled either from a JUCO or transferring from another school. All right, any other questions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The question was, could I help develop a situation where people who don't have a business can help contribute to NIL? And that's exactly what the schools do. They develop what's called a collective. And what we have to do, I don't know how it starts, and because it can't be attached to the university, it can't be authorized by the university per se. But I don't think that the 220 quarterback club is not authorized by the university, but it does the work. So it's going to have to be an external group. I would say I would glad to be a part of getting a group of men together to develop the collective. I know a lot about it, and women. I just gave the women props on basketball and then stuck my foot in my mouth. Get a group of rattlers together who will develop something serious that we have to figure out a collective. And so I'll start looking at what other schools are doing and how they're doing it, and figure, because it's got to happen sooner than later, Mr. Cobbs. It really, really does. We like I said, I got wind of one of our best student athletes, and I was like, we got to do something. And so we just start going through the process. And looks like we're pretty set for that student athlete for the fall and the spring. That person will be advertising for my wife's bakery, Thai Sweets and Pies. And so when you see one of the players advertising for Thai Sweets and Pies, although they can't eat much of it because I don't want Coach COlzie coming after me, but we do have an athlete that my wife's company, Thai Sweets and Pies, will be signing to an NIL very soon.
Vaughn, you remember you and I talked the other day, and there's some correspondence you don't have because I haven't been well. But we have $100,000 in that $1 million for NIL funds. We also have $200,000 in there for Althea Gibson funds, because we're still getting checks for Althea Gibson. That's why we kept the same account. But we're going to have $100,000 for NIL money, and we'll have to have some kind of board, Vaughn, maybe you leading it, to see how we can spend it.
That is a great start. Mr. Jackson and I talked about that, and I kind of gave him the spiel list when I got word of the particular athlete I'm talking about, and I was like, we can't lose that guy. You know, it's not a whole bunch of them you can say that we can't lose this guy. So, but we, you know, if our women's basketball player that had the great year, if she was a junior, I'd be worried that she might be leaving because someone would offer her not only the scholarship but the NIL deal. So this is how it works. We got to protect our home by being able to offer the NIL deals to our student athletes. And we're not talking tons and tons of money, but you got to show them you love them. If not, somebody else will. Just an example, Milton Overton, who is still a great friend of mine, you know, his son's at Alabama. And I was talking to Milton, and I say, Milton, how's LT doing? And Milton literally told me, he need to send me some money. So it was just, I mean, but that's the reality of things. Like I said, Travis Hunter just bought his mama house. You know, it's some of them are larger with that higher visibility. On our level, we don't have to worry about competing with that. Those are exceptions to the rule. But we have to do something. We got to start from somewhere.
The only one that I knew of, correct me if I'm wrong, around here, we had a player that had something working with Krispy Kreme.
Glaze.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know it was, because I know they had hats. Well, their color was green and white. They had orange and green hats with his number on it. I remember that. Now, tell me, is he still with us?
Yeah, he's still with us.
All right, because I went out there to get one of those hats and they didn't have it. 'Cause I wanted to get it specifically because I knew, you know, he would get something from it. So I just wanted to know if that was still in effect the next thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Tucker. Big numbers of millions. During the women's basketball game, you saw, was it Nike with Caitlin Clark? I'm sure that's millions. Sanders, the quarterback, Shedeur Sanders is like the highest paid he's about $5 million a year. So let me tell you, I'm gonna just use this one example, Dr. Tucker. Marvin Harrison Jr., who's expected to be the first receiver, possibly the first person taken this year. Marvin Harrison Jr., the son of Marvin Harrison, who used to play for the Colts. He's a junior. He has another year of eligibility at Ohio State. When you go to the NFL, you have a rookie max contract. There were boosters at Ohio State trying to raise more money for him on NIL than he would have made his rookie year for him to stay. You have to start somewhere. The question is, how do you recruit against that? You have to start somewhere because every athlete is not looking for that. They're just looking for a little money to assist them in getting by with the expenses of college.
Okay, Phil, let me point it out. The guy that started, the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers, he made less this year than kids are being offered. Because there was a quarterback from California that was offered by Miami and the University of Florida, and it was pointed out that they were offered more than the starting. They're going into college making more than the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, his point was there are some college quarterbacks going and making more money than they actually would in the NFL.
On Easter Sunday, we were talking about how much guys can make. On Easter Sunday, I talked to a guy that's a business owner. He doesn't live here in Tallahassee, but he graduated from FAMU. And I mentioned an NIL contract. One of our players, pretty big star. I don't want to call his name out right now. But the guy sent me a text and asked me, how do I get to fund this guy? Because I told old, and the guy just moved into the apartment. A week after the cricket celebration bowl, I went over and shampooed his carpets so that he could get his deposit back. All right. He didn't have enough funds to really do the cleanup stuff that he needed. So I stayed over there for 6 hours. But this same guy is concerned about going into the portal. So I just text today his name to that business owner. And he said, well, how much does he need? And I said, he needs enough to make his living expenses. You talked about guys that aren't on scholarship anymore. He's graduating. So he's in grad school. So how much do we need to give? We don't need to try to match in Ohio State, but we need to keep our kids that are here.
That's a very good point. We don't need to, his point was, for those online who couldn't hear him, we need to continue to, or begin to try to take care of our student athletes' needs here and not even consider trying to match wits with those financial machines of those giant schools. I don't know, because it's so deregulated. I don't know if there is a, I don't know if because it's so deregulated, because you go directly to the student athlete. The only person who would know is compliance. That is the only person in the athletic department that you actually correspond with. The athletic director and all of them have to stay separated from it. I don't even know if they can get the report. So maybe somebody could give us an answer, but I just know we got to get that rolling. We have to get that rolling sooner than later. And Mr. Jackson making a commitment to pour into that, I think we need to start getting that collective of rattlers to guide that going. It's gone out of the window now. NIL, the question was the old rule where you couldn't contact players directly. They basically extinguished that rule when they told you go directly to the player for NIL. You can't go to the athletic director, the coach, or anybody. You got to go directly to the player. Okay? So, Mr. Jackson, I will put together a presentation on it. We'll start recruiting some rattlers for the committee to help start a collective, because we have to.
Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, Vaughn. I don't know, I think the day may have been better than having the coach. Certainly was a plus. But I will talk with him and we will get our communication straight. And I think he'll understand that the school, that the program rather, that is supporting his efforts financially takes priority over anything else might be going on. So I apologize for his not coming. Thank you for coming. And hopefully you'll come back next week. Thank you.